she cherished and misses Teresa deeply. Later Finch tells Rhea that the police could have been incorrect and shows Teresa may want to have run away and stayed with pals. Rhea follows up, posing as a detective to impeach one in every of her vintage pals. However, the boy grows protecting and insists Teresa died too. Years in the past, Ray quietly pairs the boy's Telcel smartphone together along with his very own. Earlier than handing it lower back, Rez discovers a message he dispatched to Teresa, and he tells her that she wishes to vanish. At that second, Rez spots Teresa's status at a distance. He straight away begins a evolved following her. However, she manages to slide away earlier than he can capture up. After that, Rhea meets Detective Fusco in his automobile. Rhea had in advance compelled Fusco to paintings for him at gunpoint. Now he questions Fusco approximately the group possibly related to Teresa's own circle of relatives as homicide. Fusco tells him that if a person from that place become accountable, it would possibly be a particular institution. Rhea heads instantly to them, and after roughing up some contributors, he ultimately receives the call of the person in the back of it all. Of the man's call is Slanik, and he's already in jail for any other case. Revisits him there and questions him approximately the own circle of relatives he killed years in the past. He asks why he murdered them, after which dumped their bodies in the water. Rhea threatens Slanik, caution that revealing his kill listing will best make matters worse. Slanik ultimately admits to killing Teresa's own circle of relatives, however claims he in no way harms youngsters. He says the process got here through a one-time touch whose call he does not recognize. Rhea informs Finch, who suspects the human beings in the back of the hit now recognize Teresa is alive and might have employed a person else to complete the process. They want to discover her speedy simply. Then Finch says he would possibly have located a lead. Teresa's father had currently completed enterprise with a business enterprise named Lawndale, so restarts if evolved investigating Lawndale's workplace from a distance. He updates Finch, pronouncing that the whole thing in her seems like everyday workplace interest. However, suddenly Rhea spots Teresa's uncle Derek in the constructing it while he realizes something suspicious is virtually going on the opposite facet. Finch manages to discover Teresa's deal with and informs Rhea. Rhea heads there to find her. While he ultimately meets Teresa, she straight away threatens him, caution him now no longer to return back any nearer or she can be able to assault him. Rhea lightly tells Teresa he's there to shield her due to the fact a person desires her useless. Abruptly a person assaults from in the back of Rhea slightly saves them, shoots on the attacker and escapes with Teresa. However, the attacker, sporting a bulletproof vest, survives. Rez takes Teresa to his lodge and questions why she failed to visit her uncle Derek after escaping. She says her father warned her due to the fact Derek became in the back of it all. Of the guy who killed her father even stated it became Derek's fault. It's why she concealed with pals as an alternative. Finch arrives and Rhea leaves Teresa in his care. Then Rhea meets Derek and bluntly asks if he had his very own brother and own circle of relatives killed to capture their belongings and inheritance. Derek denies it. He explains that his brother believed this new assignment may extract their lives, however they did not have sufficient cash. So Derek organized a assembly among him and the Lawndale humans. What he failed to recognize became that Lawndale became concerned in shady commercial enterprise. Whilst Teresa's father could not pay off the cash, they killed the complete own circle of relatives so the land could visit Derek, who may want to switch it to them. That land is now really well worth over 50 instances extra. Derek says they have got kept him alive best due to the fact the land is in his call for now. At this factor reportions the whole thing collectively. He tells Derek that now because Teresa is alive, if this information comes out, all of the belongings will legally visit her. Derek will be left with not anything. Rhea rams a truck into the Lawndale owner's automobile, flipping it, then methods the smash. He warns the guy to prevent the hitman, however the guy says it is too past due to the fact they have got already observed Teresa and the killer is at the manor. Rhea quick calls Finch, urging him to go away straight away. Finch grabs Teresa and that they rush to get away. The lodge simply As they attain the door, the killer indicates up proper outdoor the gate and factors his gun at them, geared up to shoot. However, proper at that second arrives at the scene. He expenses and takes down the murderer simply in time, saving Finch and Teresa at the police station. Detective Carter meets Teresa. Carter lightly asks her who stored her and why she by no means got here forward all this time. However, Teresa does not say something. She remains quiet simply. Then her Aunt Elizabeth arrives. Teresa straight away runs to her and hugs her tightly. Elizabeth holds her near, after which she takes her domestic. The subsequent day, Finch tells Ree that they have got a brand new case. This time it is approximately a soldier named Joey. He these days lower back from serving in Afghanistan and is now operating as a doorman. However, his existence is in risk. Ree begins a evolved tailing Joey. He also clones his Telcel smartphone to reveal his pastime. Soon Aurora later, whilst following him, Ray watches Joey stroll right into a bank to something casually. However, unexpectedly Joey places on a mask and joins a collection of armed guys. Collectively they rob the complete financial institution. They thieve all of the cash, and Ray, mendacity at the floor with the relaxation of the civilians, quietly observes the entirety. After that, Ree tells Finch that Joey is a financial institution robber. However, Finch explains that each one of Joey's preceding sports have been non-deadly and robbery would not commonly fall below their case kind, so that they at the least want to discern out why Joey is doing all this. Rez maintains following Joey and sees him assemble a lady. Joey offers her a few cash and talks to her in brief. Earlier than leaving, Rez unearths this abnormal due to the fact Joey already has a female friend. Now it looks as if he is worried with every other lady, too, which increases suspicion. Reese and Finch suspect Joey would possibly damage a lady, whilst Ray sees him obtain a coin-stuffed parcel from a taxi. Finch strains the cab to a bar owned with the aid of using excess. Sergeant Major Sam Ray visits. Sam earns his belief with the aid of using posing as a fellow soldier and is obtainable activity. That night time, Sam calls and says Ray will meet the crew as an alternative. They kidnap him. Joey holds him at gunpoint. Stressful solutions. Ray claims he is only a soldier attempting to live to tell the tale after being deserted with the aid of using the authorities. Joey, satisfied, lowers the gun and we could him be part of. Later, Reese sees Joey meet a lady with a toddler and updates Finch, inquiring for a historical past test on them. That night time, Joey and his team rob a online casino whilst Reese watches from afar, listening to police sirens via his synced radio. Reese speedy warns them. The team grabs what they are able to and escape simply. Earlier than the police arrive, stored with the aid of using Reese's well-timed alert. Tomorrow, Ray meets Joey and tells him approximately a brand new activity. However, Reese is already suspicious. He says they may be approximately to threat the entirety again, and this time matters should cross incorrect due to the fact their associate Stra is worried. Ray describes Stra as a reckless man who should reduce to rubble the complete operation. Joey but explains that he is handiest doing all this due to the fact he badly wishes cash. Joey opens as much as relower back in Afghanistan he were given unwell and his pal took his location on responsibility. That night time his pal was killed. Joey has by no means forgiven himself. His pal had a daughter and Joey feels answerable for her. He is taking risky jobs to store sufficient for her schooling and destiny because the crew heads out for every other activity. Finch hacks Sam's Telcel smartphone and here's a recording wherein Sam tells his boss the complete team can be killed at some point of the activity due to the fact it is time to update them involved. For Finch rushes to the theft website online to preserve Calorie slams Finch in opposition to a wall at the same time as Finch secretly warns him that Sam plans to kill the team. The theft is going in advance. However, Sam opens Hearthplace proper after Maximum are killed. Besides, Joey re-urges him to depart the crook lifestyles, reminding him he's a successful soldier who can begin clean. Joey has the same opinion and leaves together along with his lady friend. In the meantime, Detective Carter reveals the team's radio and contacts Ree, vowing to seize him. Rez honestly replies, "Good luck," and tells her to attempt. Later, revisits Sam's residence and reveals him lifeless. At the desk lies the equal container they stole all through the theft, and written on Pinnacle is an unmarried call alias. After that, Finch is going to a health facility pretending he wishes assist together along with his ache medicine. However, in truth he is there due to the fact their subsequent wide variety is Dr. Tillman, who works at that Health facility. Ree is already in the health facility preserving watch whilst Dr. Tillman finishes her shift and leaves. He follows her to a bar. There he notices a person who additionally appears to be looking at her. Reese says it is the second one time he is visible. This guy. Close to her, he quietly bumps into him, steals his pockets and assessments it. The guy's call is Andrew and in her are benzodiazepine drugs, a effective sedative. That is whilst Ree begins evolved to suspect Andrew is probably a chance returned on the workplace. Ree talks to Finch. Finch tells him that Dr. Tillman got here in early for her shift that morning and has already executed 2-3 surgical procedures. Ree notes that Dr. Tillman appears to be dwelling a double lifestyle, spending nights at bars and operating long health facility shifts all through the day. In the meantime, Finch seems into Andrew and reveals he is a funding banker with multiple rumors of sexual misconduct. Even though in no way officially charged on the equal time Detective Carter evaluations CCTV footage from the theft, she spots something suspicious that Ree begun talking to a person all through the incident. She investigates and discovers that guy is Finch. Carter will pay Finch a go-to at his domestic. She tells him that in the theft he become noticed on digital digicam and a person appearance away and hold his eyes down. However, whilst Carter begins evolved urging him with extra questions, Finch pretends to be traumatized with the aid of using the incident. He tells her that it's all a blur and he would not don't forget plenty earlier than leaving. Carter fingers him her Enterprise card, pronouncing that if he recollects something he have to touch her. In the meantime, Dr. Tillman is once more playing a drink. Even as sitting on the bar, Andrew walks up and joins her. He begins evolved speaking to her and attempts to flirt, and Tillman responds with a grin, gambling alongside. She makes use of a phone call throughout their communication. After some time she tells him that she's heading outdoor for a few clean air and he walks out together along with her. Andrew then gives to take her again to his area. However, Dr. Tillman politely declines, pronouncing she has an early morning shift at paintings. He indicates they are able to get collectively a few different day. They each smile and element methods that night time. As Andrew enters his domestic passcode, Dr. Tillman secretly watches through a digital digicam as she's been tracking him. Reese tells Finch, then digs deeper into Andrew's beyond. He unearths that during university Andrew drugged and raped a lady. She becomes so traumatized she could not communicate to police for 2 days, and with the aid of using them there wasn't sufficient proof to free him. The case become dropped. It seems that lady become Dr. Tillman's more youthful sister. After the incident she fell right into a deep melancholy and ultimately took her personal lifestyles with the aid of using overdosing on antidepressants and sound asleep tablets. Now Dr. Tillman is looking for revenge for her sister's loss of life. Ree realizes that Dr. Tillman is planning to kill Andrew, and now it is as much as him to prevent her earlier than it is to overdo. After that, Ree attends assembly in which Dr. Tillman and numerous others are accrued in aid institution. Anyone is there to speak approximately their private struggles and beyond traumas throughout the consultation. Whilst a person brings up a rape case, Dr. Tillman turns into visibly disappointed and abruptly leaves the room. Rez follows her outdoor and attempts to speak. She introduces herself with a phone call whilst Ree slightly asks why she got here to the assembly. She says she was hoping it would assist. She has a great process and strong lifestyles. However, the whole thing changed these days. She noticed the person liable for her friend's loss of life enjoyable at an elaborate resort, consuming French meals with another female. From his conduct she ought to inform he deliberate to attack her too. That second shattered her, bringing again all the painful recollections. Retells Finch they ought to prevent Dr. Tillman from committing homicide. However, additionally cannot allow Andrew move free, in order that they plant tablets in his vehicle and go away at outdoor police station. Andrew is arrested, however, launched day after today. To Reese's frustration later, as Andrew returns to his domestic, Dr. Tillman ambushes him. She knocks him subconscious, kidnaps him and throws him right into a van at the manor. She stops at a neighborhood bar to seize a drink, and that is while Ree indicates up. He talks to her lightly and tells her that this isn't always the answer. He reminds her that she's in no way killed all of us earlier than and as soon as she crosses that line she can be able to stay with their remorse. Her task has constantly been to keep lives, now no longer take them. Ree promises her that Andrew will face results for what he did and offers her his phrase. Listening to this, health practitioner Tillman breaks down. In tears, Ree lightly asks her for the van keys and assures her that Andrew can now no longer harm all of us. After a second of hesitation, she eventually arms over the keys. After that, Ree releases Andrew and has an extreme communique with him. He threatens him at once, cautioned that if he ever attempts to damage some other girl once more, he will for my part kill him with a gun. Before everything, Andrew acts defiant and refuses to confess he did something incorrect. However, while he sees the gunman Dacity at the desk and hears the depth in Reese's voice, he freezes. The hazard shakes him to his center. Reese leans in and warns him that irrespective of in which he hides, he will discover him, and while he does, he will kill him in a manner humans will consider for centuries. Shaken and terrified, Andrew eventually knows the load of his movements and the actual results if he ever crosses that line once more. Tomorrow, Finch meets with Ree and offers him a brand new quantity. This time the man or woman at the list is a decide named Gates, who's an unmarried figure elevating his younger son Sam. Ree begins a valved tailing Gates and shortly notices that a few guys are following him. Earlier than Ree can interfere, a person quick pulls out a telecell smartphone from his pocket and throws it right into a trash bin, then walks away. Rez retrieves the telecell smartphone and examines it. Rez discovers that they're going to kidnap Gates' son Sam. Figuring out the hazard, Ree straight away indicators Finch. Rez rushes towards Sam's region, however by the point he receives there, a collection of guys are already surrounding the boy. He jumps into combat, however he is outnumbered. No matter his efforts, he receives hit difficult and is going down. Whilst he is at the floor, the attacker sees Sam and take him away, disappearing. Earlier than Ree can get better decide, Gates gets a name from an unknown quantity. The caller threatens him, pronouncing that they have got his son and he must anticipate their subsequent name. Until then, he must now no longer attempt to alert any cop or feds, or they will reduce his son Sam into portions. Gates is shaken just